There's a kind of silence that follows after he texts you at midnight. A silence that isn't peaceful. It's filled with questions you don't want to ask out loud, like, why is he here if he already belongs to someone else? And even though part of you knows the answer might hurt, another part of you holds your breath, hoping maybe this time you'll be the one he chooses. But deep down, you've already felt it, haven't you? That quiet ache in your chest when you realize he only comes around when she's not looking. You wonder if it's love, or if you're just the mirror he turns to when he can't stand the reflection of his own life anymore. So, what does a man really want from you when he reaches out while still holding someone else's hand? Is it love? Is it comfort? Is it confusion or control? Carl Jung once said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul." Sometimes, a man isn't running toward you because of who you are, but because he's running away from himself. And in that chase, he might reach for you not with love, but with need. Not with devotion, but with escape. But that doesn't mean you're weak for answering the call. You're not naive. You're not broken. You're not desperate. You're human. And sometimes, humans crave what feels close, even if it's not right. Have you ever felt like you were someone's emotional secret but never their truth? That they only wanted you in the shadows, never in the sunlight? If that resonates with you, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not crazy for feeling this way. Because beneath the surface of every moment he whispers to you in private is a deeper question screaming for light. What am I to you, really? Let's unpack that. Let's look gently at the truth hiding in the quiet places and understand what it means when a man comes to you while he's still claimed by someone else. It's not just about him. It's about you, your soul, and the way you deserve to be loved in full. Stay with me. We're going somewhere soft, but powerful. And if this already touches something inside you, pause and tell me in the comments. Have you ever felt this kind of quiet ache before? There's a reason this kind of love doesn't feel like love. It moves like a shadow. Appears when the lights are low. Disappears when the sun comes up. And yet, it still leaves fingerprints on your heart. Smudges of almosts. Whispers of what if. So let's ask it gently. What does a man want when he seeks you while he's married, or already with someone else? Truthfully, sometimes he doesn't even know. Because when a man is unhealed, he doesn't search for love, he searches for a bandage. Not to care for another heart, but to cover his own. Carl Jung described this behavior as projection, where a person throws the parts of themselves they can't face onto someone else. You become the fantasy, the relief, the momentary escape from his own emotional mirror. You represent what he's missing, not what he's ready for. And that's the part that stings the most. Because he looks at you like you're special, but never holds you like you're sacred. He says things that feel deep, but never does the things that show depth. He offers attention, but not devotion. Have you ever noticed how present he becomes when he feels distant from his partner? And then, how quickly he disappears when his world goes back to normal? That's not love. That's longing without responsibility. It's not real connection. It's borrowed intimacy. And you deserve more than just moments of being seen. You deserve a place where love is chosen fully, not borrowed in silence. Because when someone truly values your heart, they don't just visit it in the dark. They hold it in the light. Proudly, openly, with both hands. And yet, it's okay if part of you still hopes. It's okay if part of you still wonders. Maybe he'll leave her. Maybe I'm the one he truly loves. Maybe I'm different. If this resonates with you, share your heart in the comments. Even if it's messy, even if it's hard to say, you're not the only one who's ever loved in the shadows. Jung believed that the unconscious mind drives many of our choices. And sometimes, people are drawn to each other not because of love, but because of unresolved patterns. Ask yourself, do I feel chosen, or just needed? Do I feel loved, or just used for relief? Because when a man reaches for you from a place of lack, it often means he's not looking to grow. He's looking to feel better. And that can feel intoxicating, but it's not sustainable. Emotional safety isn't just about how someone feels with you. It's about what they're willing to build with you. If you're always kept in the background, never acknowledged, never introduced, never prioritized, that's not a flaw in you. That's a sign of where he is emotionally. And here's something you need to remember. You can be the most loving, loyal, understanding person and still be treated like a secret if someone hasn't yet developed the courage to live with truth. So take a breath. You're not unlovable. You're not invisible. You're not crazy for wanting to be fully claimed. You're just standing in a moment where you must choose yourself before someone else chooses your silence. If any part of this feels familiar to you, take a moment to let it out in the comments. There's healing in being seen, especially by those who've walked the same quiet roads. Sometimes, it starts so small, you barely notice the cost. A message that makes your heart flutter. A compliment that makes you feel seen again. A moment of connection that feels realer than the life he says he's stuck in. He tells you, "She doesn't understand me like you do. I can't be myself around her." With you, everything feels different. And maybe it does feel different. But here's what Carl Jung might gently remind you. Just because something feels deep doesn't mean it's true or healthy. Feelings are valid. But feelings without integrity can become illusions that wound us both. Have you ever noticed how he rarely talks about how he plans to leave, but always finds new ways to stay? How the months pass, with promises, with stories, with just a little longer, yet nothing changes. You wait for love to become honest, but it only becomes heavier. And one day, you realize, you've stopped asking for more. You've just started getting used to less. That's not your fault. It's just what happens when your soul is fed on crumbs, but told it's a feast. You're not weak for staying. You're not foolish for believing. You just saw the best in someone who didn't yet know how to offer his best in return. Carl Jung taught us that when we do not become aware of our own unconscious desires, we fall into patterns that repeat, and repeat, and repeat, until we either awaken or break. Maybe you were the anima in his life, the symbol of soul, of warmth, of what he lacked in his waking world. But you were never meant to be his escape route. You were meant to be whole on your own. If this is hard to hear, breathe. Let your heart take its time. You're not being judged. You're being gently invited to return to yourself. Let's pause and reflect here. What have you put on hold, waiting for him to be ready? Your joy? Your dignity? Your time? It's okay to say it out loud, to write it in the comments, to name the things you've sacrificed, not to shame yourself, but to free yourself. Because the moment you speak truth is the moment the lie begins to dissolve. He might say he loves you, but love without action is still abandonment. Love without truth is still betrayal. And love without freedom is not love at all. It's control. So what does a man really want when he comes to you while he's committed elsewhere? Often he wants comfort without disruption, passion without consequences, closeness without commitment. But what about what you want? What about the way your heart longs to be held? Fully, honestly, completely? What about the way your soul aches to be chosen in the light, not hidden in the dark? This is where you reclaim the narrative. This is where you stop asking, "Why won't he choose me?" and start asking, "Why am I waiting to be chosen when I could be choosing myself?" You don't have to beg for love that's already yours by birthright. You don't have to prove your worth to someone who's still unsure of his own. And you don't have to hold space for a man who only shows up when it's safe for him to do so. You deserve more. You always have. And if that truth lands anywhere inside you, even if it's just a whisper, please share it below. Your voice matters. Your story matters. And you never know who's reading, needing to hear they're not alone. There's a quiet kind of heartbreak that doesn't come with loud tears or dramatic endings. It comes with waiting. Waiting for his name to show up on your phone. waiting for him to call you more than just a beautiful distraction, waiting for him to finally decide, you or her. And the truth is, when someone really sees your value, they don't leave you waiting. They move mountains. They make space. They make a choice. But here's what Jung would ask us to notice. Why are we drawn to people who keep us waiting? Sometimes, it's not just about them. It's about something deep inside us that still believes we have to earn love, that we must prove ourselves worthy, that devotion must be struggled for, not simply received. Have you ever been taught, directly or indirectly, that love is sacrifice? That to be loved, you must be quiet. You must be understanding. You must be patient, even when it hurts? It's not your fault if you learned that. But now, you get to unlearn it. Because healthy love doesn't come as a test. It comes as a shelter. It comes as peace. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." So ask yourself, is this love, or is this another chapter in a pattern you were never meant to stay stuck in? If this feels familiar, take a moment and let me know in the comments. Have you ever waited for someone who couldn't choose you, but wouldn't let you go? Because that limbo, that place between almost and never, can break even the strongest spirit. But here's the beauty Jung reminds us of. You are not trapped. Not by him. Not by your past. Not by the version of yourself that settled for less. You are growing. You are awakening. And you are not here to be someone's secret lesson. You're here to be loved like a whole universe, not a temporary escape. Let's pause and really feel this. When he comes to you while still keeping someone else, he's showing you his pattern, not his potential. He's showing you what he's capable of doing to another woman. And one day that might be you, not because you're not enough, but because his pattern has not yet been healed. And no matter how deeply you care, you cannot love someone into integrity. That's their journey. Your journey is learning that you don't have to wait for it. You don't need someone to leave another person to prove they love you. Love that begins with betrayal often carries betrayal in its bones. So protect your heart, not by closing it, but by offering it to people who are ready to hold it with both hands. Let's talk about the void he fills. Because sometimes the hardest part isn't leaving him, it's facing what his attention covered up. The loneliness, the longing, the ache to feel chosen, seen, wanted. That's real. That's human. And it deserves tenderness. But you don't need to fill your loneliness with someone else's confusion. You don't need to patch your wounds with the presence of someone who hasn't healed their own. Because the moment you stop waiting for love that can't stand in the light, you create space for something true to find you. And maybe that something true starts with you. With the part of you that finally says, "I'm tired of being almost. I'm tired of being hidden. I'm tired of being enough for stolen moments, but not for forever." If you've ever said those words, even quietly in your mind, comment with a heart emoji below. You're not alone. And this is your reminder, you are already whole. Already worthy. Already lovable. Not someday. Not when he's ready. Right now. There's something deeply unsettling about being loved in pieces, being admired for your softness, but never protected, being desired for your body but never honored for your soul. When a man comes to you while still belonging to someone else, he may shower you with passion, with words that sound like devotion. But love, without alignment, is still misalignment. You may feel like his light in the darkness, but if he keeps you in the dark, how is that light being honored? Carl Jung spoke often of the shadow, the hidden part of us we deny or suppress. And in this kind of relationship, you become part of his shadow. He doesn't bring you into his world. He tucks you behind it. Because he hasn't yet faced the shadow of his choices, the fear of loss, the guilt of betrayal, the desire to have everything without letting go of anything. And slowly, your heart starts to carry the weight of both roles, lover and secret. And secrets grow heavy. They stain your smile. They turn joy into questioning. They make you wonder, if I were truly enough, Why would he need to hide me? If you've ever felt this tension, you're not alone. And you're not weak for wanting to be held honestly. Even if he says he's stuck, even if he swears he loves you more, even if he tells you you're different, if he's not choosing you fully, he's choosing his comfort over your clarity. You deserve better than that. You don't need to be someone's soft place to land when they refuse to walk with you in daylight. You don't need to sacrifice your sense of self to become someone else's unfinished decision. And you don't need to wait for someone to become brave. Here's a soft question to hold. Are you in love or are you in hope? There's a difference. Love is reciprocal, rooted. It makes room for you. Hope, when misplaced, can keep you tethered to a ghost. And ghosts can't build homes. They only haunt them. So if you're feeling haunted by what could be, pause. Take a breath. Place your hand over your heart and ask it gently, what am I trying to hold on to that keeps letting go of me? Carl Jung believed true healing comes when we integrate the parts of ourselves we once disowned. The parts that loved too quietly, the parts that begged to be seen, the parts that kept forgiving people who never apologized. So maybe this isn't about him at all. Maybe this is about you, finally hearing your own voice. The one that whispers, you don't need to be an option. You don't have to carry the weight of his choices. You are not here to be someone's unfinished story. If this lands with your heart, pause and write in the comments, I choose truth over silence. Because every time you choose truth, you write a new future for your soul. Every time you walk away from confusion, you step closer to clarity. And every time you say, I deserve more than this, you honor every version of yourself who once accepted less. Maybe he loves you. Maybe he doesn't. But what matters more is whether you love yourself enough to stop waiting for someone who loves you part-time. Because real love doesn't ask you to hide. It asks you to bloom. Real love doesn't say, be patient while I figure this out. It says, I'm ready now. And real love will never make you wonder if you're worth choosing. Maybe this was never about whether he loved you. Maybe it was about whether you were willing to stop shrinking for love that was never whole. Because here's what you must know. You are not hard to love. You are not too much. You are not just a beautiful secret. You are not a backup plan waiting to be promoted to priority. You are someone's answered prayer. You are someone's safe place. You are someone's only choice, not their second one. And the more you return to this truth, the less appealing confusion becomes. The more you honor your boundaries, the more love begins to look like peace, not performance. The more you choose yourself, the easier it becomes to let go of those who only choose you when it's convenient. Carl Jung believed deeply in the path of individuation, the process of becoming your whole self. And part of that journey is learning when someone else's presence is not a gift, but a distraction. Yes, his words might feel warm. Yes, the connection might feel real. Yes, the nights might be beautiful. But if you're only held in the shadows, you will always wonder what it feels like to be loved in the light. And that ache, that aching almost love, it chips away at your spirit quietly. Until one day you wake up and realize you are done being almost. You are done being a chapter in someone else's hidden story. You are the author of your own. So take a breath. Let this be your turning point. Not with bitterness, not with regret, but with gentleness. With the soft power of a woman who has seen enough to know. She no longer needs to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to convince him. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't even need closure from someone who was never fully open. You just need you. The version of you who no longer waits for love to grow from dishonesty. The version of you who looks in the mirror and whispers, you are already chosen. Not because of what you do for someone, but because of who you are when you are free. And if you've made it this far into the video, maybe that version of you is waking up right now. Maybe she's stretching her heart after too long spent sleeping next to silence. Maybe she's standing quietly in your chest, asking with love, can we go now? Not go back, not go chase, but go forward. Into peace. Into wholeness. Into the kind of love that never has to whisper in secret. So here's what I invite you to do. If anything in this video opened your heart, tell me in the comments. I'm choosing the light now. Because it's time to stop living in maybe. It's time to stop shrinking for someone who only visits your soul when theirs feels empty. It's time to stop waiting for a man to offer you the love you've been capable of giving yourself all along. And please, if this touched you, share it with someone who may be standing in the same silent space. You never know whose healing might begin with your voice. Like this video if it gave you clarity. Subscribe for more soul-deep reflections rooted in psychology, truth, and symbolic healing. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss a message your heart might need to hear. Because here on this channel, you are not just a viewer. You are seen. You are understood. You are remembered. And no matter who didn't choose you, you can still choose you. Now, gently, fully, forever.